Hey, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. With me is Ben Emmeline Jones. You can unmute. You don't have to be mute right now. Come on, unmute.
Cool. Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm
Yeah,
Benjamin Jones. I'm back again on Not My Rabbit Hole with Terry Joyce. This is
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's great to see you here today. Today we're going to go over the Fresno Nightcrawlers and talk about it. And do you know, like Ben, speaking of AI, because we're going to have an AI conversation because AI kind of infiltrated our show
Yeah.
in a way, picked up something.
We got quite a story to tell you about that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It ties into something else. I'll tell you another story which is very similar, which is really good. We'll tell you those later. Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of AI, I made a song out of today's show, and I'm going to play certain versions. I want to get everybody's opinion, maybe in the chat with you or whatever, what your favorite one is, because they're not published on my suno.com website. But I wanted to play a few of them. Before I do that, like, what's behind you right now?
Right behind me are actually, you could just see them. You can see them better like that. There they go. There they are.
Uh-huh.
They are those. I mean, you'll see the real thing later. Those are two models. So they're two knitted models of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Someone's made them. They're crochet. Someone made them with crochet, and I've seen several pictures of people creating their own models. There's a couple of clay models as well, and indeed there are commercial ones you can buy in the tourist shops in Fresno. I'll say more about this later, but they have spawned a little industry in your town.
Yeah, they have. I researched that too. That there's kind of like Area 51, right? You go through
Yeah.
New Mexico and in that area, Nevada. There's all these, there's merch that you can buy in rest stops and things like this that you can go to along the highway. Same thing with Bigfoot, right? And
Yeah.
so the thing about the Fresno Nightcrawlers is it's kind of considered either in between a cryptid, which is like Bigfoot and Chupacabra, and those kind of things, and actual aliens, because some people think that maybe
Yeah.
the Fresno Nightcrawlers are extraterrestrial. So there's this kind of debate on those things,
That's
and
an, that's an
there's
important question. We'll later on we'll be talking about that because it's a complicated business about exactly what are they. I mean, they're like
yeah.
nothing we've seen elsewhere in the realms of the weird and fantastic. So I look forward to discussing that with Terry, and no doubt we'll probably disagree about a lot of what goes on. But I think hopefully we'll get closer to the truth.
Okay, well, I want to bring in some music. Here, I'm going to start with this one. This is on Suno.com, and this is about the Fresno Nightcrawlers. Are you ready? Okay, here we go.
Yo. Yo, check the feed, late night 2007. Fresno's where it hit. Jose's camera caught a sight, dogs barking, something legit. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. They're walking past the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal. Imagine seeing them on the street, don't wanna see them on the street, so glad they ain't got feet. Now that's a crazy breed. Let's go down to Fresno and go nightcrawler hunting. I know it ain't my town, but it sounds like something. I'll see them before I die and make it to the sky and have a story for you to take to your grave. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The walking past, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal. Yeah, so paranormal.
All right. So that's the first one, and they're all called paranormal.
That's
But hi, Raven.
that's
Hi.
good.
You like
That's
that
very
one?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Did you do the lyrics? Did you write the lyrics?
Okay, well, here's what I did. I did do a research. I've been playing around. Speaking of AI, I've been playing around with Gemini. And I've been doing these shows that I did some research on ChatGPT and stuff like that. So Gemini, an offer, because I'm on Google, right? I have a Google account. You may get an offer too, but it said, do Gemini for $19.90 a month, and it gave you all these kind of services like 2 terabytes, videos, storage, and then you can use Gemini as a research engine. So I asked Gemini, this is all AI, by the way. Okay, I asked Gemini, I said, could you do, a deep search, research on the Fresno Nightcrawlers, that way. And it gives you the links of different material to back up what you're doing. So it's basically a research tool. Again, like when you are using any type of artificial intelligence. And by the way, I want to mention that there is a ChatGPT EDU that is being I just joined it at Fresno State for my studies next year. So the universities are incorporating AI like ChatGPT EDU or oh my god, how weird my AI like ChatGPT.
Oh, that's weird. Terry's got a little echo. I heard there.
Yeah, that's weird. YouTube, my own YouTube channel just came on and played my own myself back to me. But it's a language learning model, right? So there's certain ethics and there's certain things that you have to understand about AI because it can hallucinate and it also can be biased because it basically is just taking what you were putting into it. So it has no censorship. It's just collecting data. So the data it collects may have a biasness that is out there on the internet, but it has no ability to have an attitude or filter it.
Yeah.
So there's a whole education being doled out within the university system on educating students. And maybe there's some universities that are actually requiring students to take a course as part of their GE general education is the assimilation of artificial intelligence into their research and their learning process. So getting to the point with this Gemini, when I did the research, I go, can you make me a rap song out of the lyrics of like the deep search that you did on this topic? And so it gave me certain things, right? Lyrics. And then I put it into Suno, right? And they have a full song thing. So I put that in and it takes 200 characters. So I just kind of copied and pasted a little bit of it. And then Suno, and I put the style of music that I wanted, and then Suno spit out some songs for me on it.
That's really good. That's really cool. And it's like, I mean, you also created this brilliant thumbnail you've got. I love the pictures of the skeptic and believer.
That came from Gemini as well. Like I said, can you make First, I asked for show titles about a skeptic and a believer in the Fresno Nightcrawlers, and I said, "Can you make me a thumbnail for YouTube?" And the 16:9, thumbnail horizontal frame, right? And then it gave me some images, and I said, "Could you make cartoons out of us?" And at first, it made the man the skeptic and the woman the believer. And I said, "Can you flip it male, female, male? The female is the skeptic." And then I said, "Can you give one guy got bald?" And I said, "Can you give one of them white hair?" And then I still didn't really care for it. And it still wanted to give you like a little patch of hair around here. And I'm like, no hair at all. Like I had to keep directing it for make another image. And I still wasn't happy with how the female looked facially. And then I said, "Can you make the female look more like Cyndi Lauper?" Which is something that I've had people say about me. Like, one time I had this lady scream at me and she just goes, "You're just a Cyndi Lauper wannabe." And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's a bad thing, really. And, so when I put the Cyndi Lauper thing, then I got the cartoon to look the way I wanted it to. And that
It's
was
cool, yeah. It's pretty cool. I really do like it, and the Instagram one as well. I think that's a bit more. It's a better likeness, but it's less flattering to both of us. I think the Instagram one.
Oh no, see, I don't think so. I think the Instagram one is it's just, I mean, for me, I think it's just as flattering. I don't know about you.
Maybe for you, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Certainly not for me, but yeah. But they're really cool. I mean, I'll have to start doing these things myself eventually. I've got to get on this train. I mean, AI is interesting because, like, I personally don't think it's going to take over the world anytime soon. In fact, I have trouble making it read a bus timetable properly. But it is useful for things like this, for creating things like this. And indeed, someone has written some music for me using the Sunio tool, and I've got to start creating my own, I think, at some point.
Well, it does allow, I mean, there are a lot of different theories about AI out there. I can't for 100% say that AI isn't, the beginning of the extinction of the human race. I mean, even on with anthropologists and real scientists, that is one of the theories of how our species, our genus Homo, our Homo sapien can become extinct. Would be one of the theories is artificial intelligence, along with a huge volcano or something.
Yeah, add them all to the list.
An extinction, but it's weird because the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of people are talking about all of this activity that's happening, like the earthquakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you noticed that? It's off the coast of Russia. There was an earthquake, and there was tsunami warnings on the coast of California, and some other places. And indeed, I mean, it seems like there's always if something is solved. For example, if someone finds a meteor heading for the Earth, and they manage to deflect it with like the DART mission, which they can do now. They can actually deflect a meteor heading for the Earth, and everyone will breathe a sigh of relief, and they'll say, "Yes, but the Yellowstone is rumbling now." Or this new ChatGPT thing. It's actually said someone like put some input into it. And it says,
I mean, there's. Okay, I'm sorry interrupting you.
That's all right. I was just saying, there's always something to be scared of. I think, as people, we seem to think the end of the world is nigh. Ever since we used to we all believed in very, very orthodox religions, and now, even though people are more secular these days, we have other nightmares to replace it. It's like, we don't really have confidence in ourselves. I think we have this idea that somehow we are sort of very fragile and we're temporary, and then we're going to go, which is a shame. I mean, even if it's true, I mean, it's still sad.
Okay. I mean, this is a whole philosophical question, I think, about what is life and what is really our existence and what is the human form and what is a soul and what is everything? What is the meaning of everything? Because from my understanding, all life comes from a previous life, and most of it's been, metamorphosed. It had a random mutation or something happened where that life form, whatever that was, it started on Earth, went into another form of life. Even if you were to say, well, the dinosaurs are gone or they're wiped from the Earth, there's still fragments of DNA and actual plasma of their existence.
Well, birds.
And some of them have been recreated. Like there's a certain wolf that they say it's a certain wolf. It's not exactly a wolf because it still was hybrided with some dog DNA. We can look it up. I'm not thinking of the name right at the moment because my mind really isn't focused on that today. But when we talk about how life is being created or how things are being mutated or genetically created, there's a lot going on around that conversation. So let's say who we are right now, because chances are we will go extinct. I mean, I don't mean to sound bah humbug or anything like that, but according to how life on the Earth has been previously, every other species has gone extinct before the other one, or maybe at the same time or whatever. It's what has happened. So theoretically, I think it's like 99.9% chance that that's going to happen to us as well. And
well, eventually the Earth won't last forever. The sun won't last forever. I mean, if we don't get out into space, we won't last.
Yeah, but our form of us might happen a lot sooner than that. I think when you're talking about like the sun going away or losing the sun, that's just like, that's way ahead in the projected years or future of what's going on. But in terms of like the hominin, like the human, really chances are we may go extinct. But that, I mean, and my thought is, if everything flows to tradition, then the survivor of us, whatever, maybe there's a mutation happening right now in our species that will be the future of like what's going to weather what catastrophe might happen or situation.
Yeah, I mean, something might come from us in the same way as I said earlier. Birds descended from dinosaurs. Birds came from dinosaurs, and when they grew wings and wishbones and stuff, and they became birds. I mean, one class just changed into another, and that could happen again, and it may well. As for the AI thing, I mean, whether that has anything to do with it is now a good time to tell the story, because
I mean, before we do it, I just kind of want to address, like, it's interesting, like Pootie and Raven are talking, and Raven says exactly they lie about everything. Raven says that death is an illusion. When you leave your body, you realize this immediately. The portal back home is in our DNA. And then Pootie says evolution is a lie, BRB. So Pootie doesn't believe in evolution, and that's okay too. I can't say, for example, I do tutor anthropology. And so that's why I know, that's why I share my knowledge of what I know about the topic of it. And so what would be considered, I think, modern anthropology, or where we're at now, I would say, because I just recently took those courses, that maybe I'm on the cutting edge of like what is considered to be like what they think. But everything that you look at with anthropology is still a theory. Like, even though it's a science, or it's considered science, or they're using the scientific method in determining what something is, or the data that they collect, doesn't necessarily mean that is what it is. Like with new information, science always changes. And so even like if you want to get to like the Fresno Crawlers situation, Fresno Nightcrawlers, this situation kind of crosses over into the cryptid, or the more the scientists that are considered maybe pseudoscience. But there is an application of anthropology or assessment in what this could possibly be. There's still an open door that the Fresno Nightcrawlers are actually an undeclared species.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very interested in cryptozoology. In fact, one of the best kind of like wackadoo authors, I keep saying wackadoo, that's Stephen Campion's word, but it's the best way to describe it. One of the best wackadoo authors, I consider Jonathan Downes. In fact, I'd say he's probably the best non-fiction author I've ever read. And he's written books such as Monster Hunter, Monster of the Mere. He wrote a book about the chupacabra, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. And of course, there's lots of serious biologists who've actually been a part of this movement to hunt unknown animals. Some of them take like Bigfoot seriously, and they're not just fools. They're not just like amateurs. These are people who have gained qualifications, as you have, in a particular subject. Yet they take these subjects seriously. Yet they are considered pseudoscientist, fringe, and are very much rejected by many of their colleagues. And they find it hard, for example, to get papers published or to find jobs in laboratories and in academic institutions. But I think this is the main reason why most of these kinds of wackadoo subjects are covered by amateurs, because we have nothing to lose.
Now, Raven is saying that they have rewritten history to hide our true origins. They made the good guys and bad guys, and the bad guys good. So they control the future when you rewrite the history. So
That's paraphrasing something George Orwell once said. He who controls the past controls the present and controls the future. Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of that also happens in film and television. For example, like things that happen with wars and stuff like that. We have our own propaganda version of certain things like Con Air, stuff like that. I mean, it's just like one example. Air America, that, the flying of the planes over to Laos at that time for the Secret War. I mean, there's a lot more. It's very simplified than the Robert Downey Jr. Mel Gibson version. So, I mean, when you think about even how our culture historically in our stories sort of changes it, and unfortunately, I think people believe what they think that they see on television or they see on a movie. That's their understanding of what really happened.
Yeah, in fact, I've just maybe you read the article, I don't know, but I've just been covering this very thing because there used to be a lady, she died actually in 2012. Her name was Marion Stokes, and she once decided to record the news. She was actually a TV producer herself, and so she put a VHS. This was in 1977 when the first commercial VHS videos were. She put the VHS in and started recording a news channel. And when she finished, she put another tape in and started recording again. And she kept doing this until her death. And she actually accumulated 71,000 cassettes of continuous TV coverage. And I was reading her story and I thought, it's a good job she did that, because like if you look at a book or a TV show or a documentary that's made today about a subject in history, and you then somehow manage to get hold of an archive version of the news, it's totally different in some cases.
Yeah, it can be.
Totally
and
different.
I think too, there's a lot of correction in that now. I think that, and what I know from going back to college is that they're trying to correct some of like what history was by allowing another version of that story, or another with other, of course, factual evidence of what really took place during that time. And I think it's important to preserve history so that we don't make the same mistakes twice, right? We try not to repeat ourselves, but it seems like we're not doing very good.
This is exactly what Orwell described in his imaginary scenario in 1984, because this was a situation when history was continuously being altered, and indeed the news cycle, every single news cycle projected a completely just different image of what was going on, and people were programmed simply to go along with it and forget what they saw the previous day. And his main character is one of the guys who works at this Ministry of Truth, and he actually keeps altering all the news stories in historical books. It's his job. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that.
Well, before we go on, and let's talk about AI a little bit in terms of like what your experience was the last.
Yeah, and it relates to the last show we did. So I contacted you.
Yeah,
we discussed a TV series on Netflix, didn't we?
Yeah, we discussed we mentioned it. Untamed. Okay. And it takes place in Yosemite. And I brought it up because in the Fresno Nightcrawlers narrative, right, there was a sighting that happened in Yosemite, although I think that there is somewhat of a debunking on the Yosemite footage as having been possibly fabricated. But again, some people do claim to have seen the Fresno Nightcrawler in Yosemite. And because of that, I started talking about this series called Untamed, which is on Netflix, about a true crime series that takes place in Yosemite. And I talked about how my parents, I might have been conceived in Yosemite, and Yosemite's like the gateway, like the Fresno is like the gateway to Yosemite, and Yosemite's connected to Fresno, and one of the characters is in Fresno. And they go, well, we're going to have to go to Fresno. And I was talking about how, and I'm going at the subject here, and I'm combining two subjects, but how like somehow like Fresno is always insulted in film, like in the show Sirens, the character played by the lead actress, she says something like, the one character says about about being from New Jersey, and she goes, "Oh, honey, you never say you're from New Jersey. You say I'm from upstate, or I'm from upstate New York." Yeah. Same thing. She goes, "I'm from Fresno, but I always tell people that I'm from the Bay Area." It was a character played
Yeah.
by Julianne Moore, and I'm like, oh, again, we get this sort of like punch. Like, you never want to say that you're from Fresno.
I get the
And
feeling that Fresno is a little bit like the English town Milton Keynes.
oh,
I mean,
really?
I think we actually said that when I was with you. We mentioned the comparison. There's loads of everyone makes jokes about Milton Keynes. You know, it's just like it's the butt of every joke that it's full of like silly people and idiots and candy floss and shopping centers, and there's nothing else to it. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So this thing came up in your, like, you
Yeah.
guys.
See, we discussed it briefly on the show, and I thought, well, I just thought to myself, well, I'll have a look at that at some point. So, but next time I went to Netflix, I did not search for it. I'd actually forgotten about it. It sort of slipped my mind, and so I went to Netflix and just watched a couple of other things. And then the third time I went back to Netflix, it was yesterday. They was actually the first thing I saw at the top in the banner at the top was Untamed. Now, I never searched for it. I never even looked for it. And it wasn't. I don't know how the hell. Why are they suddenly? Is it just a coincidence they're suddenly advertising in their top banner this series that Terry and I were talking about? Now, this is very similar to something else that happened to me, because I get this oddest feeling that when we're talking, someone's listening. Now, I'll tell the story. I sent you the article. I wrote an article about this. That when I went to South Wales, it was a week after I came to see you. I went to speak at a conference in South Wales. I took my tripod with me and I left it on the train. So I reported it to Lost Property, and then they said, "Yeah, we found it. Here's a photo of it, and go and pick it up," and stuff like that. And I hadn't actually mentioned it. I'd mentioned I'd lost my tripod on the actual video, and I didn't mention it again until my next reply to comments video, when I actually mentioned that I'd lost the tripod. But I didn't. Literally, that's the only time I actually mentioned it. I never. Actually, apart from when I sent emails to the Lost Property office at the station where they keep it, which is Bristol Temple Meads. That's the station where all the lost property is stored. And then suddenly I start getting in my spam box adverts for tripods from Jessup's, which is an old camera company, like an old photography company. And suddenly they're everywhere. I'm getting these they're advertising tripods for me. It's as if someone heard me talk about my lost tripod, which I don't want back, by the way. I'm not going to try and get it back. Even though I could, if I could get it back if I wanted. They did find it. But it's like, and as with you when we were talking about the Untamed series, it's as if someone is listening to us and they decide to send
It's definitely happening. I mean, they pretty much they're saying it because AI, like, if you have a Siri on your phone, anything that you post, like I had included, I made reference to a USA Today article in my Substack. So now USA Today found me in Messenger on Facebook and then asked me if I wanted to get notifications, and it's offering me a subscription. Like anything that you like, that is, and it is, there's crawlers on the internet. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. We are being listened to 24/7 whenever we are streaming on StreamYard, on YouTube, posting something, writing an article, creating a link, or whatever. That's how the internet is linking up, and it's going to be a standard. That's how we get advertising. I've had times where I've even thought about something and then I see it out like being advertised to me, and I'm like, whoa.
Oh man, now you're really getting me paranoid. I'm sure a time in the future will come when they will literally be able to read our thoughts. I mean, they already can with the PET scanner up to a point. You know, they can roughly work out what we're thinking about. But you know what? You see, what's scary about it is, and it is sinister, is that I only discussed.
Hi, Aiken. Aiken just joined us.
We have
Aiken. We have Pooey. We have Raven. I mean, a Raven was, what is she saying here? Look at Columbus. He was horrible, but we have a day to honor him. Yeah, there's a big contention about Columbus. There's people that have actually taken Columbus's statues down here in the United States because he wasn't the discoverer. Like, oh, great, we found America. There's quite a lot of horrible things that he was doing.
There was actually a Welsh guy called Prince Madog who found America. Or there was a Viking as well, Leif Erikson. No, but on the subject of AI, I only mentioned that the only time I was online talking about my tripod was when I emailed the Lost Property Office and I mentioned it on YouTube. Yet these spam boxes started appearing just in my browser. And the only time I talked about Untamed was when I was talking with it to you about it on YouTube, yet these things appear on Netflix. So somehow, whatever system's doing it, I'm sure there's no people involved. It's all automated. And it's very easy to do now to automate this thing now. With AI, you can just hear anything now. But they somehow knew that I was the same person who watches Netflix as I'm the same person who also was talking to Tere on YouTube. Now that makes me a bit paranoid.
Well, it's not like talking to Tere specifically. It's just that they hear me suggest Netflix and then it's coming through whatever your software, like, it's not like, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It is disturbing. And a lot of people are not happy about that. This is a show in and of itself, the topic alone. I mean, there are people have contradictory thoughts on this particular topic about our privacy. But unfortunately, I think that no matter how much we talk about it or how much we don't like it, there's really not much we're going to be able to do about it.
Yeah, and Terry, it's not the advertising that's the problem. I mean, in this case, it's actually quite beneficial in a way because it's nice that retailers can actually connect me with products that I might like, and if they whatever method they choose to do that, you could say, well, that's quite convenient for me. The problem is that if there's a system that can do this in terms of spam botting, what else? Who else is doing this? Who else is listening to me right now? And who else has a file on me? And maybe they're interested in things like my political ideas, or my personality, or the likelihood of me being a criminal, and all these other things.
All of the above.
So what are they doing with all this information?
I don't think we may not be that far into like criminal or whatever, but there are those websites that are out there now that just automatically have your information that anybody can access. Truth Finders, been verified, all of these different types of places. And so I just saw that there is like another company that you can go delete me, and you can put down everything you want to have deleted, taken off of you. But that's why now, like, what we do on the internet and what we say on the internet is really important.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like what you put out, because everything that you interject, whether it be an X post or your Substack or your Rumble channel or whatever your topics are in them, you are setting a tone. And as you can see, like, I use Grammarly when I do some of my posts and stuff like that, and when I write, because it automatically it helps you with your punctuation. Yeah. And so when you use Grammarly, it will tell you the tone that it may be wrong. It's not good with sarcasm or whatever a lot, but it will do an assessment of what the tone of your post is.
All right. See, because it's interesting, because have you seen the new War of the Worlds movie, the one that's just come out? Well, you will now, because it's going to be recommended to you because I mentioned it. But
okay.
Yeah, the new War of the Worlds movie. It's got Ice Cube, the rapper, starring in it, which is a rather bad piece of casting in my view, but he does a good job, I'd say. But what's interesting about it sticks very much to the original story of alien invasion. But what's interesting about it, he's like a monitoring officer for the National Security Agency, and he spends all his time spying on people with this very sophisticated technology. And in the opening scene, he's spying on his daughter. I would do this if I did his job. He's spying on his daughter just to make sure she's safe and everything, his pregnant daughter. And but it's really quite astonishing. You see CCTV cameras of people walking through a railway station or down a busy street, and they're got labels beside them on the monitor saying, high risk, low risk, security alert, stuff like this. And it's a really good. If you've not watched it, just watch the opening scene, even if you don't want to watch the whole movie. It's really amazing.
Well, yeah, of course, I'd like to watch the movie. But when we're talking about monitors everywhere, or your cell phone pings where they know where you're at. I mean, if you watch true crime stories, that's the way they find people. Their phone stopped in this general area or something like that. Everything is, technology is really catching up to where, like, right now, again, I want to get on with the rest of the show, but right now a lot of people are really upset because they have a software, I think YouTube's doing it, where they will detect your age and whether or not you're 18 or not. And if the software thinks you're not 18, then you're going to have to verify that you really are in order to have certain access to things that are on YouTube. And some people are upset about that. I kind of think it might be good, because that's going to protect people that are not underage. It also protects us, because if people are accessing our content, we know that it's going to be available to somebody who is actually 18. Therefore, you can not worry about, your material is okay to be 18 and above for advertiser standards, basically.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I think that the days of being able to hide behind dummy accounts, like, again, I think there's an issue with you guys with the VPNs.
Yeah. Yes. I'm saying it's very topical in my country right now.
So, I mean, and we should probably, again, I'm lightly touching on these things, but I think that there's going to be a time where people are going to want everybody to be transparent on the internet, because the internet is going to represent who we are online as citizens of the internet. Is what I think is a possibility. And therefore, because of that, advertising is going to change, because it's going to be like, yeah, you thought of something, maybe because you did think about it, you are going to want to buy that. And so, you could probably turn off that. We can adjust those in our, when we sign up for websites or whatever, our cookies and this and that, or whether or not we want to have the crawlers take our information to profile certain products to us. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's very topical in my country, because we have the Online Safety Act. Now, you say that could be a good thing, and it would have benefits. An awful lot of harm is done by people using the internet, abusing the internet with anonymity. Not just, obviously the trolls who we've talked about before, and indeed I've suffered as a result of this too, but the real criminal activity. The concern is that maybe state actors with more nefarious intentions could take advantage of that to, for example, persecute whistleblowers, people like Julian Assange, Manning, Snowden, people like that, or indeed other people. So in a sense, a free anonymous internet has benefits too, in terms of citizen activism, the exposing state abuse, that kind of thing. And so there's a good and bad side to it, in my view.
Well, Ben, let's. I want to get our topic going here.
That's a rabbit hole.
Maybe address a few people in the chat. Aiken says the Roslyn Chapel has depictions of maize on pillars, and well before the official discovery of America. Raven says, "I don't trust AI. Why are the children afraid of Alexis and Google?" I think they are sensing something. Yeah, I've seen some of those videos of when babies are scared of Google and everything. It's all kind of interesting. Okay, so speaking of AI, I want to play another song and then get more into the Fresno Crawlers. So let's take a moment here.
I'll be back in a minute, yeah.
Yeah, I also want to welcome all the new people that have been subscribed to Not My Rabbit Hole. Welcome, and please do like and share this video with your friends if you like it as well, and support the channel by giving it a like, helping our algorithm get out there and and reach people. Okay, so here's the second one that was created.
Yo. Yo, check the feed, late night 2007. Fresno's where it hit. Jose's camera caught a sight, dogs barking, something legit. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. They're walking past the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of Venom Journal, you know it's paranormal. Imagine seeing them on the street, don't wanna see them on the street, so glad they ain't got feet. Now that's a crazy breed. Let's go down to Fresno and go nightcrawler hunting. I know it ain't my town, but it sounds like something. I'll see them before I die and make it to the sky and have a story for you to take to your grave. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The Walking Dead, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of middle journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. That's so paranormal, like out of middle journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. That's so paranormal. That's so paranormal.
I kind of like that one, actually. Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah,
I missed a bit of it, so I just had to nip off. But yeah, it's cool. That's really cool.
So I want to pull up some of the Jose footage, and so we can kind of look at it.
I'll just get my notes as well, because I've made some notes. Here we go. Oh, is that the one?
Okay, where am I here?
This is when I remember I first saw this on YouTube years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, what the hell is this? I thought that's fake again, but I learned more and more about it as time went. Here we go.
Okay.
This is Jose's security camera.
Yeah, and I'm going to turn their volume off, and I also want to kind of like have the option of like reading a few things about it as well, as it's going. Let me just play it, and then I'll just read a little bit of it.
Pay attention to this, anyone watching, because look.
Yeah, it's okay. So now that footage right there, I think that one, yeah, and that's the one that they maybe like. See, and there's how they have all the merch.
Oh, right? It's the knitted ones, like the ones behind me.
Yeah, and then these are the different cryptids, and this is the actual, the real footage here, and also, like, I want to do like the fair use banner. We are just educating the public, and this usage is fair use. So, wait, let me just expand this, and so this is the real footage on it, and the Fresno Nightcrawlers have emerged as one of the most peculiar and widely discussed cryptids of the modern era, gaining notoriety through viral footage that captured the public imagination, often described colloquially as the walking pair of pants. Due to their unique and minimalistic appearance, these entities stand apart from more traditional fearsome cryptids like Bigfoot or Chupacabra. Their distinctive form, characterized by disproportionately long legs and almost non-existent upper body, contributes to a perception of them as cute, whimsical, or benevolent, rather than threatening. This inherent non-threatening characteristic plays a significant role in their widespread appeal and makes them unexpectedly endearing, a departure from the typical fear-inducing monster narrative. This shift in perception likely lowers psychological barriers to engagement and acceptance, following the phenomenon to integrate deeply into internet culture, fostering memes, fan art, and merchandise, which which in turn ensures its longevity and popularity even amidst strong skeptical arguments. The enduring fascination with the Fresno Nightcrawlers centers on a fundamental question. Are they genuine? Are they a genuine unknown entity, misidentified animal, or elaborate hoax? This report, which I did put this through Gemini, this report will delve into these facets, examining the phenomenon from both skeptical and believer viewpoints, acknowledging the ongoing debate and the persistent lack of definitive scientific conclusion. The core of the mystery lies not in the definitive proof, but in the persistent ambiguity of the initial evidence and the inconclusive nature of some high-profile investigations. This sustained ambiguity prevents a universally accepted definitive resolution to the question of their existence. By remaining in the state of unexplained, the phenomena allows both skeptical and believer narratives to coexist and thrive indefinitely, suggesting that for a phenomenon to become enduring folklore, it often benefits from evidence that is just compelling enough to spark widespread imagination and debate, yet vague enough to resist definitive scientific proof or easy debunking. And I thought that assessment was kind of interesting. So what do you know about this footage?
It's extraordinary. I mean, that piece of documentary is showing it alongside the Loch Ness Monster as well, and it has gone down as a kind of piece of folklore or neo-mythology, a little bit like the Loch Ness Monster. But the origins...
The Loch Ness Monster is also considered to be a cryptid, which means that it falls into that category of maybe being a species that hasn't really been classified yet. But it's also part of folklore. And folklore in mythology is oftentimes what culturally, I mean, going back to being indigenous, people use to explain what they couldn't explain.
Yeah, I mean, unlike these other cryptids such as Bigfoot and Nessie, which can be traced back throughout history, indeed into prehistoric times, the Fresno Nightcrawler is very recent. Now, what happened is in 2007, a guy called Jose, and that's all we know about him. And you're not going to believe this. It's just like last week. He turned up at the Univision TV studio with a videotape, with a tape, and he was filmed, interviewed, and they studied the tape. And he described it as something that happened a few months earlier in his home. Now, he had a security camera installed because he'd actually had a home invasion and he'd had some things stolen from his house. He also had a second attempted burglary as well. So he put these security lights up and security cameras, which is understandable. And one night he was woken by his dog barking, and he went and looked at the security camera, and he saw what we've just seen. Now, he got his own camcorder, and this is what's annoying. He didn't go to the window and film out of the window. The curtains were down and the blinds were down on his window because this was the middle of the night, about like 2 a.m. or something. So he actually just filmed what the security camera was filming, and that's just what you see. His screen over using his camcorder of the monitor for his security camera.
Right, and that is one of the arguments that people have about it, is that it's not directly on the object itself. It's actually like a double tape or something. And they also argue the quality of the image of not being able to see definitively what exactly it is.
Yeah, and also there's the fact that, as with Victor, like last week, and indeed the Alien Autopsy, the Santilli film, there is this kind of laundering process between the original and what is actually eventually handed to the media and to investigators. This is the problem. You've seen the creatures there, which... the creatures are like nothing that's ever been described before, which is why this phenomenon is very hard to
shot, though, it is so trippy. Let's go back here because, you really see, because this first footage that I was looking at, I'm like, okay, that could just be like a guy, and you're not seeing it's so distorted and double film that you don't see his upper part of his body. But then, when you see where the split of the legs are here,
yeah. I mean,
watch how big split that is.
Yeah, there's many. It doesn't look like a human gate to me. There's several theories about how this could have been hoaxed, if it is a hoax, and I'll come on to those. But to give you a bit more history, he carries on with. He eventually was put in touch with a guy called Victor Camacho, who presents a TV program called Los Desvelados, which means those who do not sleep. It's a Spanish language paranormal investigation program. And they did the first documentary on this particular subject. Now, Jose has died recently. We know that he was very keen to avoid publicity. He was interviewed once by Univision, but he was never paid any money for any of this. He certainly wasn't looking for fame, and he just wanted some kind of explanation for what he'd witnessed. And other TV series like the History Channel got hold of it, and so there's The Proof Is Out there, and there was a couple of other TV programs that actually covered this. And of course, as you know, as you just explained, it's become kind of a popular mascot of the town of Fresno. And these behind me are homemade.
Okay, I wouldn't say that it's like the mascot of Fresno. I have to argue with you on that.
Okay.
It as a matter of fact,
Well, you live there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I live here. I mean, it might maybe in like the UFOlogy community, it might be, or like let's say paranormal people. Oh, do you know about the Fresno Nightcrawlers? But I don't think the Nightcrawlers are as popular, let's say, as the Greys are in Nevada.
No.
Right. And certainly, like I would say that Fresno is still mostly known as being an agricultural town community. Central Valley, we're growers here, and we're known for grapes. We're known for raisins. We also have a really big Armenian community. So, like, there are other signifying things that are. I mean, heck, William Saroyan, the writer who's from here, is more known to us, or a symbol of what our history is, than this possibility of a possible Fresno Nightcrawler. I just have to say that. I think that and there is something that I want to read here in a bit of how it's sort of boosted our morale a little bit, as making Fresno known for something else besides being agriculture, but it's not our identifying symbol.
Yeah, but go ahead, because I mean, I'll be interested to know exactly what the cultural impacts. I know there was it was a theme of the LGBT Pride Parade. One year they had like an exhibition on the Nightcrawler.
I mean, I could see someone doing something like that. I mean, doing like an exhibition on it, or including it in some of Fresno's folklore. But I do not, living here, like I didn't even know about it hardly until like a year ago.
All right, so yeah, because I mean, I've forgotten about it when I came to see you, which is why I was kicking myself, because I was in the actual location. But I mean, it's got this name Nightcrawler, which is quite sinister sounding, and of course, there's loads of like copycat fakes. Unfortunately, we've just seen a couple there. That's an awful one, but it's the. Despite the fact it has this rather sinister name, Nightcrawler, these are actually quite benign, I suppose, and far less alarming than most phenomena like this. I mean, they seem to be quite cute in a way, and a lot of people describe them as being quite sweet. What's weird about them is that there's no... If Jose made this up, as some people have accused him of doing, there's no kind of precedent for this. I mean, firstly, in his own life, no one's come forward and said, yeah, I know Jose, this is who he is. I've always known him. This is his full name, and he's always been a bit of a joker. But also, in the annals of paranormal investigation, these are unique. So if for example, is a cryptid, what is its kind of like taxonomy?
Okay.
Where does it come from? I mean, and indeed, why is it in the middle of a populated area? I mean, I know Yosemite's not so populated, but in the middle of a town, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Yosemite story is again, yeah, this was in a populated area, and I think that the Jose footage, for the most part, from what I could read, was the footage that was considered the most authentic, like the most, like the one that really puts in that it might be really can explain it. One of the things that they did on several different podcasts was that they try to recreate the same situation by faking it and try to get the same sort of footage, and they really couldn't recreate it exactly with the means with the result of what this looked like. And so therefore some of the shows, especially the show that you mentioned, which was on what was it, Univision or not
Yeah,
Univision? Yeah.
Univision. Yeah, it's a Spanish language channel.
Yeah, that one, because he was a known UFO investigator, considered to be, people looked up to him as being authentic. And he said it's unexplained, meaning they couldn't explain the reason why on the show. Therefore, it got put into a category of not being not real. Like it wasn't able to really debunk it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's real either, But then some people kind of viewed that as being determined of what it exactly might have been, what it might be.
Yeah.
See that right there? There's a big split on that one. One of the things that it did do for Fresno in terms of, and this is according to Gemini. All right, this is Gemini assessment from the material. The links that there's links to this at the end of their assessment, so I can double check on it. But the assessment is that the Nightcrawlers as a local urban legend and symbol of Fresno's unique identity. The Fresno Nightcrawler has transcended its status as a mere cryptid to become an icon and a source of local pride for the city of Fresno, firmly establishing itself as an urban legend and part of the city's identity. For some residents, such as Veronica and Alexandra, the Nightcrawlers represent something beautifully strange and unapologetically unique, serving as a unifying symbol that helps counter negative external perceptions of Fresno as merely an agricultural town or a joke. The ability to trace the cryptid's origin to a specific time and place, the 2007 video, which is the footage we're looking at right now, makes it unique in the broader world of folklore, which often has ancient, untraceable roots, highlighting its distinct modern mythogenesis. This allows the cryptid to function as a unifying symbol for community and self-acceptance, particularly for those who identify with being beautifully strange and unapologetically unique.
I can understand that perfectly. I really can. But, I mean, it's if Milton Keynes ever got anything like this, I'm sure they would see it the same way. The people in Milton Keynes would see it the same way. And in fact, there's a guy called there's a guy there's a place called Bonnybridge in Scotland, which is like this completely out of the way place in central Scotland. That has actually a man on the council there called Billy Buchanan he said something very similar about because they experienced a UFO flap in the 90s, and he just said something very, very similar to what that couple have just said about Fresno relating to Bonnybridge. There is like an attraction and I think a mystique when it comes to strange things like this, which even people who not really have a general interest in it will sort of warm to. It's something. It's a curiosity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a curiosity, and it also makes me curious because it's someplace that I live, and then to hear about it after coming back here, like, oh, did you hear about the Fresno Nightcrawlers? And then see this footage and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, what is that? I mean, there's a lot of things about Fresno that, this is part of our folklore, and so it's definitely interesting to talk about. So tell me some more about your research about Jose.
Sure. Well, Jose appeared once on the Univision. It's this channel. I mean, this program is quite popular on this channel. The channel is a US Spanish language network which covers all kinds of things. The Univision is not a paranormal kind of like woo-woo wackadoo kind of center. It's not like Gaia TV or something or BK TV. It's a mainstream television channel. which was very mainstream indeed. And the Los Desvelados is a program that does specialize in this. And Victor Camacho appears to be kind of the American equivalent of Jaime Maussan. Yes, when I listen to him talking, he sounds just like Jaime Maussan. And Jose was interviewed once at his home. His address has never been revealed, and I don't know if you recognize the location at all, Terry. But he's never revealed his address. And he's never revealed his surname. Jose is a very common name among Latinos.
Right. It's almost like the name John.
Yeah, and he was never paid any money. We know that. We know he was very careful to avoid publicity. And as far as we know, I mean, obviously his friends and family would have recognized him on the TV. But before that moment, no one even needed to know that it was actually the certain person. But since then, he has died. We know he's died, and he never made a penny.
No, I didn't know that.
Sadly, he's passed away. Yeah, after this. But some people have claimed there's this weird, because you see some people said, well, are they aliens? Now, if they're aliens, there's no UFO activity can be associated with them. For example,
how did they know that he died? How did they know that he died?
I can't remember where I read that, but he has passed away, I gather. Not a few years ago. But if they're aliens, now no UFO activity is associated with them. For example, there was no flying saucers seen nearby flying over the town. Nothing was landing there. There's no men in black or anything like that around. Now, as I said before, if it's a cryptid, then you've got to ask questions like, how did he get into Jose's garden? Because he has a fence. It's not a high fence, but it's like good 3 or 4 feet high, and a gate. It appears on the TV program, which he shuts and locks at night. And so how do they get in there? Because he's got fences between his and his neighbor's garden as well. They just seem to come into the frame with a security camera, but we don't know exactly how they got into the garden. And if they're if they're cryptids, they must have walked down the street. Did anyone see them? Things like that. And if some people said, well, they're a misidentified known species, and some people have compared them to various wading fowl, like a heron or a crane. Now, I don't think they look like any kind of bird, as far as I can tell. I don't know why the skeptics think that. I think they'd say because of the poor video quality, it might have missed out parts of the bird's body, like its head and neck and things like that. But I think that's ridiculous, quite frankly. It doesn't look anything like any kind of bird. Now, you mentioned hoaxes. Now, it was actually you could see someone trying to recreate it in the little video you showed us. Now, a guy called Christian Lander has done this. Now, he's a friend of mine, actually.
Well, apparently this one is like they just made it a higher quality. They just increased the visibility of the original tape. Apparently, in this,
that's not a bird. It's not a bird.
In terms of like hoaxes that have happened, I think there is a discrepancy with the legitimacy of the Yosemite footage, and according to can you give me a moment to just kind of pull up, because
Sure.
I didn't really go totally into it.
I'll give you some background on the Yosemite footage. I can give you some background on the Yosemite footage. This was taken by a security camera or a hunting cam, or like a trail cam, in March of 2011. Now, it's a clearer image, as you're going to see in a minute, and maybe we can discuss that, because there have been a huge number of copycat fakes since the original came out.
That sounds good. I mean, like here's. I mean, do you have that footage? Like, is there?
I can find it. No, I haven't. Let me just find it. Yeah. If it's not in that little clip, I can find it. Hang on. So I'll just go.
Yeah, I mean, here is some of the arguments of why it could be a hoax. All right.
Sure.
Skeptics frequently argue that the videos are elaborate pranks or deliberate fabrications. The creature movement is often noted as similar to animated marionettes or puppets, suggesting control manipulation. The distinctive walking pants appearance could plausibly be achieved by a person in a simple costume or sheet, though believers often counter arguments regarding proportions of movement. Digital effects artists have demonstrated the ease with which similar footage can be created. For example, popular YouTuber Captain Delusion produced a video illustrating how to replicate the Nightcrawler effect by carrying a watermelon and digitally erasing the upper torso.
I just saw that, yeah. I'll just put it in the private chat. I found it. Put it in the private chat.
Okay. This highlights the potential for the sophisticated digital manipulation. Furthermore, investigative programs like the History Channel's The Proof is Out There have examined more recent alleged Nightcrawler videos, concluding that a 2020 sighting was simply a puppet, indicating that not all alleged sightings are equally ambiguous and that fabrication is a demonstrated possibility. Skeptics also raise questions about the circumstances surrounding the original filming. One Reddit user questioned Jose's reaction time, suggesting the creature stood still long enough for him to retrieve and start filming his monitor, which could imply a staged event or a delayed reaction that allowed for manipulation. Another skeptical viewpoint proposes that the footage could be the result of kids looking for surveillance cameras and acting silly, hoping to create a viral sensation. The fact or fake shows conclusion that the original video was unexplainable. After their recreation attempts presents a paradox when just juxtaposed with reality available demonstrations by digital artists and other investigative programs showing how easily similar visual effects can be achieved. This inherent contradiction highlights the fundamental difference between the subjective standards of proof often used in paranormal investigations and the objective, repeatable standards of scientific debunking. It implies the unexplainable is a pop culture investigative context, does not equate to real or scientific validated, but rather we couldn't definitely fake it on camera using our specific methods, leaving ample room for skeptical interpretations and the continued visibility of the hoax theory.
Right, I can actually respond to two of those points right now. Firstly, it would have been helpful actually if Jose had kept the original tape or video file which he had used. And if you're ever in this situation like him, please do not delete the original file or throw away the original tape. Please keep these things because they're very important to avoid accusations of fraud like this. But as far as the staged thing goes, I'll tell you why it was. Jose reports that his dog was barking, and he went and he immediately he got his camera before he saw them, and he started filming the monitor because he was expecting to see some little scrote climbing over his wall, which had happened before, to see if he could break into the house. That's what he was expecting to see, like some thug from the local neighborhood, trying another home invasion. He wasn't expecting to see strange creatures, so he was filming the monitor, expecting before the things appeared, waiting for whoever was trying to break in to try and break in. And then, to his surprise, he didn't see anybody. Instead, he saw these things. That's why he was filming beforehand. I mean, but the other points I don't have an answer for right now.
Okay, yeah, you sent me the Yosemite Park one. I'm glad you did that because
you got it. It's in the private chat.
Yeah, I mean that's the one where people said I heard there was like maybe this one was fabricated, but
let's have a look.
And then, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, let's see here.
I'm not going to sing Ground Control to Major Tom.
Yeah, I played that in our promo. And so, yeah, I want to welcome everybody here today. And then after this, let's take a little bit of a break and play another song on this before we go forward. But here we go. Here's the Yosemite footage. Oh. What happened here?
You scroll up a bit, Terry. That's all. There we go.
Yeah, here we go. No, these ones don't look as solid to me as the other one. They look more ethereal.
But again, you get a repeat of the pattern. There's like one tall one about 4 feet tall, and there's another one about a foot shorter. And smaller ones moving quicker. You see, that's exactly the same as in Jose's footage. But I
thought there was only one in Jose's footage.
There were two, but they weren't walking together. One goes across, and then a second one comes straight after. To me, the certainly the big one is sort of like looking a bit stiffer. He's sort of like going like that. It's the movement is kind of like, it's almost like it's a kind of stilted movement, as if the person is literally on stilts. Whereas with the Jose footage, it's kind of almost bouncing along like that. And there's a kind of looseness to the legs, as if there's no joints in them, and it's just like almost like just loose, like almost like hose pipes or something. That's what they look like to me.
But I really think this one, they actually admitted that it wasn't real.
Has it been exposed? Because
yeah, I think it has. I mean, let me just double check.
You see, it wouldn't surprise me actually if this was, because there have been so many other fakes, and we've seen some of them already. And there's loads of copycat fakes of Nightcrawlers all over the place. This was like in 2011, so this was a few years later.
Right. I'm just double checking on it, but I'm pretty sure that I read that it came out that it wasn't.
It wouldn't surprise me actually if it was fake. It wouldn't surprise me.
They had found it to be like not. Yes, the Yosemite image has reportedly been debunked. The creator of the Yosemite Nightcrawlers video has admitted that it was a hoax. This debunking specifically applies to the Yosemite footage, not the original 2007 sighting. And right. I'm gonna grab a link here on that.
Okay.
And show it.
It doesn't surprise me, Terry. I mean, I don't necessarily believe every claim of hoaxing, because a hoax is a claim. A hoax confession is a claim too. However, in this case, it's quite likely that was a copycat hoax. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the person is. I mean, they admitted to it.
There's a guy called Christian Lander. He's actually a friend of mine he's recreated the Fresno Nightcrawlers using a pair of pajama bottoms and a coat hanger and some string. I think he's actually created a piece of unintentional comedy, in my view, but it's quite interesting to see his attempt to recreate the Nightcrawler. There's also some people who claim that their trousers that are suspended and they have remote control toy cars are actually pulling along the bottoms of the trousers. That sounds very elaborate to me, but that's what they claim Jose did.
It says he posted on Shorts on the original channel and post on Instagram admitting that the hoax after 14 years. This is a milestone and another alien paranormal animal that is constantly linked to cryptozoology, which was not meant to be. It's gone, and we can show the truth.
I'm not sure. It's again, cryptozoology. I wouldn't classify it in that area of the unknown, personally.
Well, I mean, but some people do, though. I mean like they consider it cryptozoology. They consider it cryptid there, and then they also have the alien explanation. They have the paranormal explanation for it.
See, you see, what's weird about them? They appear to be solid. They're casting a shadow. You can clearly see in Jose's footage. They're casting.
In Jose's footage, they appear to be solid.
Yeah, they appear to be casting a shadow. Now, they could be classified as some form of ghost or spirit or sprite fairy or skinwalker. I mean, the skinwalkers are interesting. Let me just get a skinwalker is a being from Amerindian folklore that is believed to possess the ability to shapeshift, often causing harm. They're considered malevolent. The term skinwalker, it's Yi Anadaloshi from Navajo, referring to the ability to go on all fours while possessing or transforming into an animal or other being. It could be that, or it's. You see, there are all over the world. There are legends of creatures that sort of are not physical but come and go from our reality. Indeed, in my own country, we have the equivalent of the skinwalker, which would be like the Green Man or the Boggart and things like that. And in my view, there's probably some reality behind this, because they have very, very similar properties, these various phenomena, which is interesting. That the fairy actually comes from Celtic lore and or Anglo-Saxon, I can't remember which, but they're pretty much the same anyway. And in my view, this may be something similar. This may be, for some reason, that there was some kind of change or some kind of process that went on in that local area that allowed something that's not normally visible or not normally present in our world to enter our world and to be visible in our world for a temporary period of time. And that's what I suspect.
Okay. I can't dispute that that's not totally a possibility.
Most
But
likely one, I think.
In terms of like, it still makes it kind of unverifiable. Totally.
Well, obviously, yes.
In the reality of it. But I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be an interdimensional being. And I want to throw out that, what is the guy that came forward recently and said that there was knowledge of UAPs?
There's two, David Grush and
That's
Llewellyn
it.
Mondo.
Okay, David Grush. So he said, I remember saying that it was possible that some of these extraterrestrials were interdimensional, or the plane or the craft was interdimensional. I found that statement to be really interesting. And on that note, I want to take another break and have us play another one of the songs that I did on Suno about the Fresno Nightcrawlers, and kind of maybe come back with like our final arguments on yay, nay, and how we definitely feel about the Nightcrawlers. So this is the next song that I have.
Yo. Yo, check the feed, late night 2007. Fresno's where it hit. Jose's camera caught a sight, dogs barking, something legit. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. They're walking past the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal. Imagine seeing them on the street, don't wanna see them on the street, so glad they ain't got feet. Now that's a crazy breed. Let's go down to Fresno and go Nightcrawler hunting. I know it ain't my town, but it sounds like something. I'll see them before I die and make it to the sky and have a story for you to take to your grave. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The walking past, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal, like out of Venom Journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. Yeah, so paranormal. Yeah, so paranormal.
All right, and you know what? We love it here. And I'm going to be like Stephen Carmian and go praise the cash.
So, you can praise the cash, yeah.
I want to thank Willow for a kind and generous donation here at Not My Rabbit Hole of £2. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Willow. Thank you. Thanks for looking after our illustrious hostess. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And it's really great to see support for this particular topic. You know, Ben, getting back to like a few things, that was like one of the other songs that we had going on there. I think this, and again, I think we should probably finish up maybe in the next half hour or so, because the reason why is that we are on YouTube right now, but I want it Spotify. If you keep it under 2 hours, you can restream it again. Maybe like in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we should think about wrapping up. And
we covered we've covered everything, really, haven't we?
On X, and again, I will be able to clip it to do smaller clips of our show and put it out there, because I think those clips have been well received. I got one feedback from somebody that they said, thank you for making us short, because I like to process it in just like, you know, a minute and a half, a little tip of information. If people want to watch the show longer, then it's great. I really enjoyed talking about this topic about the Fresno Nightcrawlers, especially with, you're talking about something that is a folklore of your own town that you were born in and grew up in. And it's like, oh wow, Fresno has its own woo story. I'm more inclined, I mean, by looking at the footage and the argument of what's going on, despite the fact that Fresno may have recreated a certain a certain level of hoax. Everything is going to have a hoax factor to it. Again, there is an argument that the guy was shooting it from another camera onto the image of that was picked up from his monitor, and that gives like a discrepancy to it. But the fact that they haven't been able to totally prove it as not being real, I mean, it's still unexplained for me, still opens up to the possibility of what it might be. And I want to kind of read just a little bit of the arguments of what it could have been in terms of why it would have been possible, in the legitimacy of it, because it says the story of the Fresno Nightcrawlers began in November 2007 with the first documented sighting captured on a home security camera. A resident of Fresno, California, known only as Jose, had installed the camera outside his home due to ongoing disturbances, just like you said. He was afraid of theft and everything like that. The footage did gain attention when Jose shared his intriguing video with the local Univision affiliate station, right? Okay, so a crucial detail regarding the original footage is the technical quality. It was a video to video, so there's discrepancies with that. Detailed physical descriptions. Based on the initial and subsequent sighting, the Fresno Nightcrawlers are typically described as being between 3 to 4 feet tall. Some reports suggest they can reach heights of up to 6 feet. Their most striking and unusual feature is their humanoid shape with disproportionately long, extremely thin legs that constitute the vast majority of their height. They lack discernible arms, shoulders, or clear neck, with the upper body appearing as little more than a small, rounded, blob-like protrusion, or a simple head perched directly atop the elongated limbs. Their distinctive movement is often characterized as fluid yet unnatural, gliding or almost floating, reminiscent of a pair of pants walking on their own accord, an analogy that has become synonymous with the cryptid in most sightings. The Nightcrawlers appear white or pale in gray color. Theorists suggest this coloration could aid in blending into moonlit environments, potentially explaining their nocturnal appearances, or indicate a subterranean or otherworldly origin. Descriptions of their texture vary, with some reports suggesting smooth, almost plastic-like surface, while others describe a more organic skin-like covering. And then it talks about the Yosemite. So beyond the two primary videos, there's also been sightings in Poland in 2017 and in Montana in 2020, and also Carmel, Ohio, described a 7-foot tall, gray-colored, bipedal humanoid walking with backward knees. And the hypothesis, and one of the most popular theories, possess that the Nightcrawlers are extraterrestrial beings visiting Earth. Proponents, including some ufologists and early investigators like Victor Camacho, point to the creature its highly unusual anatomy as primary evidence. Their body plan does not conform to any known terrestrial species, presenting a significant biological anomaly. This profound biological anomaly creates significant vacuum in conventional scientific explanation and the absence of ready available scientific classification. Human imagination and existing frameworks for the unknown, such as science fiction, paranormal lore, and cryptozoology, naturally fill in the explanatory void. And that's just some of it. There's the cryptid theory, meaning that some researchers propose the Nightcrawlers could be an undiscovered species native to the Earth, a true cryptid that has simply eluded scientific detection. Also, the interdimensional or spiritual entities. A more esoteric theory posits that the Nightcrawlers are interdimensional entities capable of moving between different planes of existence. This could explain their apparent ability to appear and disappear suddenly, as well as their strange physiology, which might be adapted to traversing dimensional boundaries. And then we've also done the arguments already of their against their authenticity. So what are your closing arguments? I say, I'm going to go with what the narrative has been, is that it's unexplained. It's an unexplained phenomenon. I'm not saying it's real or does exist, but I'm saying that because it's unexplained, that there is a possibility that there is something to it.
Well, despite the fact this video is called Ben and Tere Debate, the Fresno Nightcrawlers, I haven't actually disagreed with you very much, if at all. I certainly don't dispute anything you've just said, and I think I've come to the same conclusion as you, unexplained. However, what I would say is that there's no evidence for any malpractice or hoax. No one's ever detected any element of fraud. Jose has never been exposed as a fraudster. In fact, he's been very careful to avoid anything that might. When people commit a fraud, they generally have some kind of motive. Sometimes it's looking for attention. Sometimes it's actual profit. But
and I think that some people might actually, what's fraudulent. I mean, maybe it's true, but they're going to expound on that and give their own version of it. And make a profit. And I think that's done in UFOlogy all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Willow Williams says that, I got some experience in shadow beings and have seen one so tall it stretched from floor to beyond the ceiling.
Shadow beings, yeah, that's interesting, Willow, because there's connections between shadow beings and these, in my view, they may be related phenomena. Now, what I'd also add is that despite the fact there's no evidence of hoax, it is unexplained. There's never been any proof, and it'd be interesting actually if Jose had come forward sooner. Someone could have gone.
Now, Pooty thinks that it's people in suits. So
there's no evidence that that's the case, Pooty. At the same time, it would have been helpful. What I would say is that if you're ever in Jose's position, you maybe handle this slightly differently. I'm not saying go out there and give you a real name and address. No, don't do that. You don't have to do that. But what you could do is let people know sooner. Then someone could come along to the garden and see if there are any footprints, for example. That would be very useful. So if it leaves footprints, that would be very interesting to know that. Secondly, if you can, what Jose should have done is, rather than filming a security monitor, as soon as you realised something was going on, lift up the blind or curtain, and you can do it secretly so no one can see you, and just stick the lens of the camcorder out of the window so we get a film of them, not the security monitor. And thirdly, keep the original file on the security monitor records, because that's very, very useful. You not only get a better quality image, rather than just a screen over with a camcorder on the monitor, so you get a better quality image. But secondly, keeping the original file or the original tape, whatever medium you use, it'd be a good way of deflecting accusations of fraud, because you could show an investigator the original file, and then they would know whether or not it'd be more easy to. It's much more difficult to fake an original file. If you have an MP4 file or a VHS, and you say, well, this is what I filmed it on, they can examine that and they could tell whether it's been altered or not with Photoshop. Do you see what I mean?
Okay, I want to add.
I don't agree with you.
Pooty says there's evidence. There is no evidence it's an alien cryptid either. No. Now, Aiken says, I think that it's interesting that the footage all has in common trait crap quality. I mean, and it does. I mean, there's an element of truth that I think that's the part that makes it like it puts the doubt, is because the quality of the footage. And unfortunately, we live in a digital age of footage, where things are good and that we can capture things a lot easier now. Just thinking back to 2007, we were still probably using digital cams, and, we were limited in capturing things. And so it leaves like, well, I can't really exactly see it. It's almost like, shadow puppets on the wall with your finger, right? It's just like, I'm not comparing it, but I think some people go there in their head of an illusion being created. So, well, hey, I really appreciate you doing these shows. What do you think our next show should be? I'm thinking maybe, I think we should do this regularly. I don't know, like if like every week is gonna work out, especially when I start going back to school and work, because I'm not really sure how heavy my schedule is gonna be. But
whenever it's convenient.
I probably have almost like another month where I might be able to do a weekly something, and then maybe go to like a once a month or bi-weekly or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever it's convenient for you, and for me, yeah.
I was thinking maybe doing a med beds thing.
Sure, I'll happily discuss that with you. I'd have to do a bit of research because I don't know much about it.
Me too. Yeah,
everything
I've had to do a little research on. I didn't just come up and go, oh yeah, I know all about this. So yeah, I think just basically dissecting something and presenting like different arguments of the validity of something, and then having people join in. We had a really good turnout today, I think, and I want to thank everybody that's been here today, and Willow Williams' kind and generous donation today. I really appreciate that, and it makes me feel good that the channel's getting support, and people are liking what we're doing here at Not My Rabbit Hole. And so make sure to give it a like and share and everything. And I wish everybody a really great rest of the week. Today is Wednesday. It is hump day. So, but we're on the downslide of the weekend. And so I hope the rest of your week is just really fantastic. And also buy and look up Ben's book, right?
Yeah, that's right. And is the first one there. Oh, please do. £10 from all good bookshops now. And if you like this kind of subject matter, I think you'll like these books. Thanks, Terry. Oh, is Terry frozen? Oh, dear. I think Terry, you froze. Was that the Griff?
Yeah, so did you a little bit, but I think we're good. Yeah, we were good.
All right. Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for plugging the book. Cheers.
Can you? Am I frozen still, or do you see me?
You're all right now. You're all right.
Okay.
I was just saying that if you enjoy this program, you probably enjoy those books. You will.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to play the last song for Paranormal, and maybe I'll do I might do a video, look for a video for all 4 choices, and then I'm going to do a poll on what everybody's favorite song. Or maybe you didn't like any of them. I don't know. But here is the next song of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. And again, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Terry.
Late night, 2007. Fred knows where it hid. Jose's camera caught a sight. Dogs barking something legit. 2 figures gliding by. No arms, no head. Just legs so long. The walking pants. The Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of an old journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or your Ono. It's so paranormal, like out of an old journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or your Ono. It's so paranormal. imagine to see him on the street. Don't wanna see him on the street. So glad they ain't got feet. Now that's a crazy breed. Let's go down to Fresno and go nightcrawler hunting. I know it ain't my town, but it sounds like something. I'll see him before I die. Make it to the sky and have a story for you to take to your grave. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The walking past, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal.
I don't know. I might have screwed that one up. Let me go back. Here we go again.
Check the feed late night, 2007. Fred knows where it hit. Jose's camera caught a sight, dogs barking something legit. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The walking pants, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So paranormal, like out of an old journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. It's so paranormal, like out of an old journal. You know it's paranormal, like your ex or Yoko Ono. It's so paranormal. You imagine to see him on the street. Don't wanna see him on the street. So glad they ain't got feet. Now that's a crazy breed. Let's go down to Fresno and go nightcrawler hunting. I know it ain't my town, but it sounds like something. I'll see him before I die. Make it to the sky and have a story for you to take to your grave. Two figures gliding by, no arms, no head, just legs so long. The walking past, the Fresno Nightcrawlers on patrol. So